Hey, there's so much buzz around earning passive income with DeFi these days. It's like stepping out from a gated city, traditional finance with its banks and strict rules, and entering a bustling open marketplace where anyone can join without those old barriers, right?
Yeah, exactly. That analogy really captures it. So, what are the main ways to actually earn passive income here?
Well, there are three key strategies: delegated staking, yield farming, and DeFi lending. Each of these is a different flavor of income, depending on how much risk you're willing to take. For
Yep.
instance, delegated staking is like earning interest without the hassle of running your own validator node, while yield farming can sometimes yield very high returns if you know what you're doing.
Right. And with staking, it's kind of similar to putting money into a savings account, but on steroids. Your tokens work for you by securing the network, and in return, you get rewards.
Exactly. With delegated staking, you're locking up your crypto on a blockchain network like Ethereum, Cardano, or Polkadot. And instead of having to run the validating system yourself, you delegate your tokens. In exchange, you earn rewards in additional tokens. It's a
Indeed.
really accessible form of passive income.
And then we move to yield farming, which sounds exciting, but is a bit more complex, right?
Exactly. Yield farming or liquidity mining is all about providing liquidity to a decentralized exchange like Uniswap or SushiSwap. You deposit your crypto into a liquidity pool and earn a portion of the transaction fees, plus extra rewards, sometimes in the form of the platform's tokens. Of course, it comes with the twist
Yeah,
of
true.
impermanent loss, where if token prices swing wildly, you might end up with, less than what you'd expect.
Impermanent loss. That's a real factor to consider. It's kind of like going on a roller coaster. The thrill can be rewarding, but the drops can be steep if you don't manage the risks.
Exactly, you got it. And then there's the option of DeFi lending. Instead of relying on trading fees from liquidity pools, you lend your tokens on platforms such as Aave, Compound, or MakerDAO. Borrowers come in, usually put up collateral, and you earn interest on your deposited assets. It's pretty similar to traditional lending, but without banks, checkpoints, or those burdensome credit checks.
That's really interesting. Just imagine you're earning income while your assets are just sitting there, but actively working in a peer to peer fashion.
Absolutely. And what really drives home the appeal of DeFi is the accessibility it offers. You don't need a bank account or a credit score to get started, just an internet connection and a willingness to dive into blockchain technology. It's open, 24/7,
Right.
and super transparent.
But with that openness, there are inherent risks, aren't there? Market volatility, technical vulnerabilities, even regulatory uncertainties can really put a damper on things.
Definitely. Market risks are probably the most obvious. Crypto is notorious for its wild price swings. I mean, remember May 2021? A significant crash that showed just how
Yep.
volatile this landscape can be. And then there are technical risks like smart contract bugs, like that infamous DAO hack or flash loan attacks on platforms like Cream Finance that can lead to major losses.
And let's not forget regulatory risks. Governments are slowly catching up, and things like stricter KYC requirements and tax reporting can really add a layer of complexity.
Totally. In fact, nearly all earnings from these strategies, be it staking rewards, lending interest, or even yield farming profits, are subject to tax. So it's absolutely crucial to keep detailed records of every
Exactly.
transaction. Otherwise, come tax season, you might find yourself in a bit of hot water.
That brings up an interesting point. Some might say that the hassle of tracking all these transactions, especially with DeFi's ever evolving nature, could actually scare beginners away. What do you think?
That's a fair challenge. While DeFi is incredibly exciting and offers high yield potential, the complexity of tax implications and record keeping might indeed be a barrier for newcomers. However, there are crypto tax software tools out there that simplify the process by automatically importing your transaction histories and calculating liabilities. It's
Yep,
about
true.
balancing the ease of earning with the extra legwork required behind the scenes.
Speaking of balancing, choosing the right platform also plays a huge role, doesn't it? With giants like Uniswap, Aave, Compound, and SushiSwap in the mix, it's all about matching the platform to your risk appetite and investment style.
Precisely. Each platform has its unique approach. Take Uniswap, for example. It's very straightforward especially if you're all about simplicity and stability in your liquidity pools. Then you have Aave and Compound, which offer diversified lending options with dynamic interest rates that adjust based on supply and demand. On the other hand,
Right.
SushiSwap adds another layer by offering yield farming and staking rewards. So while it might be riskier, the potential upside is higher.
I like that buffet analogy, choosing with care based on what you can handle. But don't you think the promise of high returns with yield farming sometimes glosses over the real risks that a beginner might not fully grasp?
That's a valid critique. Yield farming does sound super enticing with potential returns over 100% APY during peak market periods, but it also brings along risks like impermanent loss and smart contract vulnerabilities. It's like being offered a delicious dessert that might actually upset your stomach if you overindulge. It requires both savvy and caution.
Yeah, exactly. And then there's the whole diversification aspect. It seems like the smart move is to spread your investments. Don't stick all your eggs in one basket.
Right on. Diversification is key in this space. By balancing your assets across staking, yield farming, and lending, you can mitigate some of the risks inherent in any one method.
Agreed.
That way, if one strategy faces a downturn due to market volatility or a technical glitch, your overall portfolio isn't devastated.
It's almost like you need to become your own financial strategist, a bit like a modern day explorer in a wild new world.
Exactly. It's both empowering and challenging. The financial landscape with DeFi is so dynamic. You need to stay updated with platform improvements, regulatory changes, and market conditions. It really pushes you to keep learning and experimenting, albeit cautiously.
And speaking of staying updated, what about the future of all this? Innovations like cross chain platforms and enhanced staking protocols seem to promise even smoother and more secure operations down the line.
Absolutely. As the ecosystem matures, we can expect more user-friendly interfaces, better security measures, and hopefully clearer regulatory guidelines. This evolution could open even more avenues for generating passive income while reducing some of the current risks. It's an exciting time to be involved in DeFi.
So, for someone just starting out in DeFi, what would be a sensible approach?
For beginners, I definitely recommend starting small, maybe even with delegated staking. It's relatively straightforward and gives you a taste of how DeFi operates without overwhelming complexity. Once you're comfortable, you can then look into yield farming or lending, but always
Totally.
with a measured approach. Think of it as learning to swim in a calm pool before diving into the ocean.
That makes a lot of sense and also underscores the importance of cautious experimentation.
Exactly. It's all about taking calculated steps. And another point is making sure you're using reputable platforms. Research is key. Check audits, track record, and community feedback. Ultimately, it's about aligning your investments with your risk tolerance and your long-term goals.
Right. Cool. And speaking of aligning investments, the article also mentions using stablecoins as a buffer against volatility. What's your take on that?
Yes, stablecoins offer a kind of safety net because they're pegged to stable assets like the US dollar. They can help reduce the impact of wild market swings on your overall portfolio. Of course, even stablecoins aren't completely risk-free, but they definitely offer a good strategy for diversification.
Definitely. So, if we pull this all together, earning passive income through DeFi is really enticing, but it has its challenges too. You have the opportunities of staking, yield farming, and lending, but also the risks of market volatility, technical vulnerabilities, and regulatory uncertainty.
Precisely. The landscape is exciting. It's a world where you're your own bank and dealer, but it demands smart strategy, continuous learning, and a healthy respect for the risks involved. It's like navigating a high-tech maze, full of potential rewards, but you need to be savvy to avoid the pitfalls.
Yep. In the end, it seems that DeFi is more than just a trend. It's a fundamental shift in how we think about and manage our finances. What a fascinating transformation.
Absolutely. DeFi is democratizing financial services by removing traditional intermediaries and opening up access for anyone with a web connection. And though it comes with complexities like tax reporting and inherent risks, it's paving the way for a more inclusive financial future.
Yeah, exactly. Well, thanks for this deep dive into the world of DeFi passive income. It's been enlightening to break down the strategies and risks, and honestly, it makes me even more curious about exploring these options further.
My pleasure. Here's to smart investments and embracing innovation while staying cautious. Cheers to navigating this bold financial frontier.